Annyeonghaseyo from Korea. Welcome to Next Matchup. Today we're cooking Deodeok. It's this. It's like a root vegetable, and we're going to take the Deodeok and we're actually going to create grilled Deodeok today. Make it clean, flatten it out, and then put a delicious sauce on it that will then be grilled, and the taste is fantastic. This is an amazingly healthy Korean ingredient and I can't wait to cook it. Let's begin. Deodeok is similar to bellflower root, which is another common ingredient used in Korean cooking. However, when you have Deodeok, you should have it in sort of big pieces that have been flattened down, and we'll get into that in a second. But first, prepare your root by cooking it for about 1 minute in boiling water, with a bit of salt in there too. Once that's done, get that in cold water and make sure it's nice and clean, that most of the dirt is off it before you start to peel it. The peeling process can be really difficult, so run a blade down the side just like I'm doing here in the video, and then you can sort of peel outwards from that. Some parts of the Deodeok will be very easy to remove and you can remove it in thin layers, whereas some you'll have to get the knife in there and do your best to remove it. Try not to use a peeler because you'll find you'll take off too much of it, and you don't want to do that. You want it to maintain as much of its sort of structural integrity as you can, and that's really important later when you start to break it up and flatten it down. Now that they're all cleaned and mostly peeled well, what we can do is slice these as thin as you possibly can, making sure that they're, at the very least, they're going to be equal sort of sizes. It's not as easy as it looks, just do your best though. Okay, when you are rolling and smashing these down, there's a few ways you can do it. You can just smash it with something, that's one way to do it. I like to roll it out like this, making sure to sort of push the ends out enough softly so that they don't break, but enough that they start to slightly split apart. And then obviously the end part at the top end is a little bit tougher, so you might want to bang that if you have to. That'll help break it up a little bit, but be very careful that you don't split it in half. You'll get better at it as you go. So if you're doing it for the first time, you might find you make a few mistakes. But that's alright, it gets easier once you get the hang of it. Now this is our sauce that's going to go on it. The sauce should be a little bit sweet and a little bit sort of spicy, and that goes very well with the natural flavors of our Deodeok root. Now this one is a little bit sweeter than a normal one. I prefer this flavor, so if you're not interested in that sweeter flavors, you can take out the sugar. There's more than enough sort of sweetness in the miso, or vice versa. You can remove the miso and just use a little bit of sugar if you want. Either way, make sure it's spicy because those flavors go so well together. There we go, put that in. Now, you could use something to mix this in, but I think you got to use your hands for this. It's the sonmat that we talk about when you're making kimchi. You got to use your hands and get all the sort of sauce spread over your delicious Deodeok. Yum, perfect. Let's fry it up. For frying it up, I'm going to use Perilla Oil. You don't have to. You could use a different oil. Maybe olive oil is a good one, or a bit of chamgiram. That's sesame oil, but I like to use dilgiram. It gives it a nice flavor. After about 90 seconds, flip it over. Now, there's a few ways you can do it. You can go for a high heat, make it more grilled, sort of maybe more of that sort of flame flavor, or you can go a little bit lower and longer. Just make sure that the middle's cooked enough. A good idea is to run it over an open flame as well to sort of torch it up, sort of similar to how you do with a steak. Now on top of there, we've got some chopped chives with black sesame that have been ground up. Beautiful way to serve it, and adds a lot of flavor to it. So consider that when you're serving, but there's a lot of ways to do it. Let's try. Oh. Mmm. Oh, wow. Mmm. Mm. Well, thanks for watching. I'm going to keep eating this. I'm starving. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hit the like button. Subscribe if you're interested in Korean cooking, as well as life in Korea. I don't just post cooking videos. I also post some of the things that I get up to during the week, as well as restaurant reviews and things like that. So if you like Korean food, you'll definitely be interested in those. In the meantime, cook well, enjoy your time, and annyeonghaseyo. Thanks for watching.